One thing that I've always loved about traveling is the people you meet and the experiences you gain. It's not about going to a nice beach or going ziplining for me it's more about immersing yourself in the culture and gaining a certain perspective into the world and into human beings. I know that might sound cheesy, but there's definitely been experiences in my life that have definitely shaped me as a person. And a lot of times I have to put down the camera because something too crazy is happening to record it. That's actually what I'm going to be talking about in today's video is one of those experiences that I really feel like has given me some perspective into life, and it really has changed me because it's made me think differently, and I hope maybe it'll make you think differently too. When I was traveling in Bangkok, I was staying in this hostel. It basically had 3 bunk beds, so 2 beds per bunk, and each person had a locker. And I was a day away from leaving, and we get a new roommate. And I was hanging out with one of the other roommates, and we're sort of leaving as we run into this new guy. And my first reaction is, oh my God, are you okay? Do you need to go to the hospital? And I thought his face was bleeding. It looked like it was bleeding all over the place. And then I realized that it's not that it was bleeding, he just was stitched up everywhere. The best comparison I can make is he looked like Frankenstein. I asked him, are you okay? He said, no, this is all from before. I'm okay, I know that I look like horrible, but I'm doing okay. And so I felt really bad, and the guy was limping around, and I took him out to get a bite to eat down the street because I'd been there for a couple of days and I knew the area. And I asked him what happened. He had been in Phuket. I'm not exactly sure of the pronunciation, but he had been out, at bars, and he tells me, look, I'm German. He says, we drink a lot, we can handle our beer. I think that I was roofied. He gets into one of the tuk-tuks, and immediately it starts getting weird because he's in one tuk-tuk, but there's also a tuk-tuk in front of him and a tuk-tuk behind him. If you don't know what a tuk-tuk is, it's basically just a go-kart. It's like a little car that they use to get around a lot of places in Southeast Asia. My friend starts to realize that things are getting weird and they're not going to his hostel, and he tells them to stop, but they keep going, and they bring him to sort of this dark corner. And my friend said, look, if I'd been in the right state of mind, I probably would have just given it to him. I mean, what, it would have been 50 euros that I would have lost? I mean, that's not that much. But to them, it would have been much more. It's something maybe worth mugging somebody over. So my friend, who was not in the right state of mind, he says, no. A fight breaks out. He said, it happened so quickly, I don't know what happened. But either one of the guys had a knife or a bottle, and the bottle was broken, and his face was all slashed up. He said it was a near-death experience. He had to get emergency surgery, which cost thousands of euros. And his face was permanently going to be a little bit mangled. Now, it's interesting to note that this guy was a dual citizen. He had 2 passports. His parents were English, but he was German. And because he came in with a German passport, he had to leave with a German passport, despite also having an English passport. So he flies back to Bangkok just to get his new passport. I felt horrible. And so, I brought him out to eat. I made sure he was, taken care of. I was leaving the next day anyways, but, I just wanted to make sure that this guy who had been through hell and back was okay. I took him out to eat. We talked, we hung out. And I said, you must be feeling miserable. You must, this is probably got to be the worst experience of your life. And he said, when it first happened, the first 24 hours, I was a wreck. I thought like my life was over, and I didn't know how anything was ever gonna, go on. He's like, but then I thought about one of my other friends. This German guy had a friend who would often go to South Africa, and he would do hang gliding there. And in some freak hang gliding accident, the friend somehow fell out of the hang gliding machine and became quadriplegic. He couldn't move anything below his neck. And he said, you know, despite having to pay tens of thousands of euros to fix up my face, which will permanently be f***ed up, despite having a near-death experience, I am lucky. I'm lucky to be alive. I'm lucky to be able to walk. And that to me was amazing. That this guy who had gone through like a hell, which I had no idea or experience with, he still was able to look on the bright side. And I think so many of us, we get caught up in all the little things in our lives, and we often very much overlook the privileges that we have in our own lives. The fact that we have food to eat every night, the fact that we have certain opportunities that a lot of people around the world don't have. So I guess the point of this video is always put things in perspective, always look on the bright side, and realize that you are lucky and things could always be worse. Well guys, whew, that was an experience, definitely an experience that I remember, but it was definitely something I wanted to share with you because I think it's an important story and something that I learned from. So if you enjoyed it, maybe you can share it with one of your friends. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. As always, I'm Robbie Frank. Safe travels, and I catch you next time.